Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
So Donald Trump has ordered his administration to consider imposing reciprocal tariffs on numerous trading partners, including, of course, the European Union. Valdis Dombrovskis, European Commissioner for the Economy and Productivity, joins us now. Commissioner, thank you so much, as always, for giving us a little bit of your busy schedule. When you look at what Donald Trump has announced so far in terms of tariffs on steel and aluminium, the European Union always said, look, we can fight back. What would that look like?
Indeed, we are following closely the announcements of Trump administration as regards tariffs, and generally speaking, we are obviously disappointed. We do not see the basis for those tariffs, neither economically nor legally. The EU-US is having the largest trade and investment relationship in the world. We have deeply interconnected value chains, so all this is going to be quite disruptive economically. So we are in engagement with the U.S. administration also to find more precisely the plans to find the constructive ways forward. But if necessary, we are ready to defend our economic interests and to respond in a firm and proportionate way.
So, Commissioner, first of all, have you run the numbers of what that looks like? If there was the first wave of tariffs and if there's then reciprocal and backwards and forwards, what that does to GDP? Or just in terms of how much that would cost?
Of course, it will depend on exact policies which are going to be enacted. In a sense, also on the U.S. side, there are still some considerations how these reciprocal tariffs are going to be applied. But the EU is already having actually one of the largest tariffs in the world, one of the lowest tariffs in the world, sorry for that. So we do not see the economic reasoning for this as well. But obviously, we are looking, so what our options are. And if you remember also from the first Trump administration, when it imposed tariffs on steel and aluminium, we responded with our tariffs in a proportionate way.
Do you think it would be similar to what happened last time, or are there new regions of the economy that would be worse affected?
We see that there has been already announcement on steel and aluminium, and what is being discussed now with so-called reciprocal tariffs, it goes beyond it, so it can be broader than last time.
Commissioner, there's also been very little progress on defense spending from the EU. What are you expecting J.D. Vance in his big speech today to announce, and how can Europe step up?
Well, I think it's very clear also from recent announcements from U.S. administrations that EU has to step up its defense effort, defense spending, strengthening our own military industry, strengthening support for Ukraine, because obviously it's key that we achieve a peace in Europe and peace in Ukraine that is fair and lasting, and that it's not done behind Ukraine's back, but with Ukraine at the table. So, but it's clear that we will have to do more as Europeans. And actually, European Commission is preparing for next month's the white paper on the future of European defense, where we'll be elaborating exactly on those issues.
Joint debt? Is this a possibility?
Well, I will not go now in detail, but it's clear that defense spending will need to increase substantially both at national and at EU level.
Commissioner, some have floated the idea that the frozen assets, the frozen Russian assets, could then be spent by Ukraine to buy U.S. weapons. Is that a good idea?
Well, we know that right now the frozen Russian assets or immobilized Russian assets are being used, the proceeds from those assets are being used for extraordinary revenue acceleration loan, which is provided by G7 to Ukraine, in a sense to repay that loan. So if there are new initiatives being discussed, and obviously we're looking at all the possibilities and all the implications, because eventually it is important that Russia as an aggressor is paying for the damage which is creating in Ukraine.
But would it be possible that one day this money would be used to buy U.S. weapons to get U.S. on side?
That certainly all will require more discussions and engagements also with U.S. administrations. But as I said, we are assessing different possible options how to move forward. But it's worth keeping in mind that right now those assets are used as a revenue source for repayment of this extraordinary revenues acceleration loan, which is being provided for Ukraine. So in a sense, Russia is already paying in this way for the damage it's creating.
Commissioner, just a very quick final question on regulation. question. Do you think the EU will follow the US in deregulating, in regulating less, but also getting rid of some of what's in place now?
Well, we have been very clear from our side that we are not in deregulation, so we will not launch some kind of deregulation race here. What we are doing a simplification without abolishing our high social and environmental standards. We set a numerical target for how much administrative burden we want to reduce by 25% in general and by 35% for SMEs, but we are not, for example, abolishing the goals of European Green Deal, like carbon neutrality by 2050 and so on. We are rather looking how we can reach our policy goals in a more efficient and less costly manner.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, for joining us. That was Valdis Dombrovskis, European Commissioner for the Economy and Productivity.